What is up, XRP community? Welcome back to another video. Thank you for joining me. During times of change is when people and opportunists take advantage, and us XRP holders have had our opportunity held back by the US government, market manipulation, and this court case. But now is when we take that opportunity back. I have many important things to explain today regarding the Ripple USD stablecoin, real world asset tokenization, in these Ripple smart contracts. But first, I want to talk about some important macro information. The US inflation falls to 2.5%, lower than expectations. And I harp on this a lot, but just keep in mind the metrics, consumer price index, the CPI, which is used to measure inflation, was re-measured in 2000. Basically, they have different weights on this basket of goods, and they changed the weights. So when I was talking about manipulation, this is what I mean. You need to take these numbers with a grain of salt. Citibank predicting Fed will cut rates by 1.25% this year. It's pretty much a general consensus that this September Fed meeting coming up will be a 0.5% rate cut, leading to December that would deduce a 0.75% rate cut. And this is mind-blowing here. Tether recorded more profit than the biggest hedge fund in the world in 2023. Their stablecoin is 75% of all volume in the market, pretty much a monopoly. And I'll leave you to do your own research on how shady the company is. When I first started out on YouTube, I think one of my first videos I did well was a 55-minute deep dive. This was in 2020, and there's only been more things to unearth around Tether. How many red flags with their 90 billion reserves backing their stablecoin, and the numerous alarming situations their host bank that has these reserves has been involved in, including with some shady cartels. And this is why the Ripple stablecoin has some massive potential. A stablecoin from a legitimate, respected company with a 10-year track record, and also their own amazing blockchain, the XRP ledger. Yes, Circle USD coin has gotten investments from BlackRock and the OK from the US government, and they're also extremely legitimate. But the competitive advantage that Ripple has is that Ripple has a robust, fast, cheap blockchain like the XRPL, which is a huge advantage for a stablecoin starting out in its early days. Thanks for all the supporters on the channel. The best way to support the channel, hit the like button. It's free, and it gives me some positive feedback to let me know I'm not wasting your time and you enjoyed the content. Thank you all in advance for the support on the channel. It means so much to me, truly. Thank you. And moving forward here, the Ripple USD stablecoin is out of the question for retails. Take a listen to lawyer reports.
David Schwartz has just made it clear that none of us little private investors will be able to invest in RLUSD, as it will be segregated for institutional use only. This strategy aims to provide a secure and controlled launch environment. It may not align with expectations of retail investors who anticipated a more direct way to obtain RLUSD. Ripple's goal is clearly to market to the institutions and not to retail investors. Schwartz went so far as to say that it probably will ever only be available to institutions. He compared it to, can you get USDC from Circle or USDT from Tether? You sure can't. Garlinghouse did confirm that it is in its final testing phases, and last I heard and reported, they are looking at Japan to be their launch location. Understanding the RLUSD is a very crucial part of the Ripple ecosystem, and it will benefit us all. Just have faith in that, relax in that.
And the UK just introduces a bill to officially and legalize cryptocurrency as personal property. In roadmaps to consider, you are here. In these past few bull runs, there has been a early phase 1 of the bull run and then a phase 2 of the bull run. We look at the 2017 bull run, the 2021 bull run, and we are here in September before the elections. There's a lot more gains to be priced into this market. This is one of the most drastic bubbles in modern history. China's real estate stocks are trading at nearly the lowest level in 20 years. Property shares have declined by over 90% in just 4 years. Artificially pumped economic miracle from the past 2 years has finished very quickly. China property also tied to Tether, because a lot of The leaks around Tether is that their backings is a lot of Chinese commercial paper. So an implosion of the Chinese market would be bad for Tether, which would be bad for the whole crypto market and the whole traditional market. And it gets worse. You have US bank stocks opening massively in the red, down 7% for a stock that's massive. JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs, Morgan Stanley. In a bank alert for Goldman Sachs, they're at negative $400 million in losses unrealized right now. 240 billion they sold under agreements, repurchase, aka repos, these reverse repurchase agreements with the Fed. And they have 1.5 trillion in liabilities. This shows potential insolvency. And the worst part about it is their leverage ratio, meaning how leveraged they are in the market based on how much assets they have, is 14x. So if they have $1 billion in cash, they're in the market to the tune of 14 billion, which amplifies vulnerability and liquidity issues and is exactly what caused the 2008 financial crisis. Ally Bank warning of consumer defaults, JPM warning of a recession, which we're already in. Goldman Sachs heavily leveraged on the wrong side of the yen trade and Nvidia. And I showed 3 banks earlier down. You can see this is across the market. It's a bloodbath for these banks. And listen to what Trump had to say about crypto.
Future of Bitcoin. I will ensure that the future of crypto and the future of Bitcoin will be made in the USA, not driven overseas. I will support the right to self-custody to the nation's 50 million crypto holders. I say this with your vote. I will keep Elizabeth Warren and her goons away from your Bitcoin. And I will never allow the creation of a central bank digital currency.
Now, you have to take all of these politicians with a grain of salt, of course, but you have, on one hand, an option that is thinking about promoting Gary Gensler to the head of the secretary. That's Trump's opponent. And then you have Trump saying he's going to make the USA the crypto capital of the country. But there's a lot of open promises with these politicians. And the Mara CEO had a Supreme Court meeting. Sorry, not a Supreme Court meeting, a Congress meeting. And Mara is Marathon Holdings, one of the biggest miners of cryptocurrency in the U.S. And listen to what they have to say about the U.S. collateralizing Bitcoin and the price of it.
There are only 21 million Bitcoin. There never will be more Bitcoin. When people want to acquire something, it has to go up in price, just like when an artist dies, right? People pay $3 million for some spray paint on bricks in a place in London because Banksy says he did it, right? So don't give me a story about there's no value to Bitcoin. Bitcoin is valuable because people believe it's valuable. That's the only reason the dollar has value. It's because everybody in this room thinks the dollar has value. Bitcoin as an asset class is the perfect asset. It's hard money. And that's something I believe you'll see. Countries hold Bitcoin. You'll see more and more companies like Mara, like Microsoft.
And these guys are Bitcoin miners. They're obviously very biased. But what happens when they learn about Bitcoin was designed to be peer-to-peer currency? And XRP actually does that. They talk about it being hard money. The real value of Bitcoin is that it's finite. There's only 21 million of them. The big problem with the dollar is they keep printing billions out of nowhere. It's infinite. These dollars are just going to zero. Same thing with XRP. Bitcoin's finite, XRP is finite. And it's actually deflationary. Every transaction on the XRP ledger burns a little bit of XRP. Can't say the same about Bitcoin. In Ripples in Wales, talking right here about the Jackson Hole 2024 Fed meeting. This year's meeting was around the topic of reassessing the effectiveness and transmission of monetary policy, particularly on the plumbing of the financial system and how liquidity by central banks flows through the economy. And the reason why this is important is because Brad Garlinghouse has come out publicly in interviews and called Ripple the plumbers of the financial system. This is an example of how you have to decipher the elite talk. You must look at the language they use because it's universal. When the message is sent out by the system, the NPCs follow whatever these elites say. But right now, at this moment in time, we have a brief opportunity to read through the BS and position ourselves correctly. We are in the eye of the storm in regards to these massive changes happening politically, geographically, and financially. And right here, the BRICS digital payment system that started September 1st. Here's how it will be used. No US dollar. It allows you individuals to make interbank transfers using a mobile number. Operates 24/7, 365. Transfer fees are either low or zero. There's 200 plus banks, and users can receive and pay for purchases using QR codes. When I talked about these elites creating a new economy for this TikTok generation, this is exactly what I'm talking about. Do you see what's going on here, my friends? Every country is adopting these faster payments. And people talk in the background, oh, XRP isn't being used in this system. Well, not everything is about XRP. This is true. But when you see the digitization of the financial system and the future of how digital money will be used, it's the death of one generation's habits and the creation of the new. We live in this TikTok short attention span economy. People want everything and they want it fast. And money is still lagging behind in this innovation. This new economy is being built to cater to the new generation in the future. And Sven Henrik has pointed out something very interesting. Fun fact, next week the Fed will cut rates for the first time this cycle on September 18th. It was the same day, September 18th, that the Fed first cut rates in 2007. That means if the same thing happens again, we shall see a cataclysmic 2008 style crash next year around September 2025. And for right now, we should begin to see a pullback after rate cuts and then heading into quantitative easing for infinity and beyond, leading to a bull market blow off top cycle. Are you ready? Because that is what I believe will happen. I've been talking about this Q4 of this year into Q1 of next year being the ideal time for crypto to explode. And just like in the last bull run, it exploded December 2021. In 2007, you can see what the rate cuts led to in the markets. Here's a visual from BC Backer, Blockchain Backer. And you can see the market correction happens after the first rate cut. And then once we get the bottom, the market goes back bullish. So the market went from 14.2K, the Dow Jones, all the way down to 7K, almost 45-50% correction. And this market is at all-time highs right now. What do you expect happens next? Really quick, if you guys want $41 for free, sign up with Webull, deposit 1 penny, and you're guaranteed $41 in free stocks. Sell your stocks, close your account, do whatever you want, but you get $41 in free stock shares just for signing up and depositing a penny. A link to Webull in the video description below. And if you need a spot to get some XRP, some Flare, some ETH, Bitcoin, check out Uphold. It's where I get my XRP daily. You can find a link to Uphold in the video description below. If you guys made it this far in the video, comment Ripple stablecoin. When you watch the full video, it's the best way to support. So thank you in advance for doing that, and let me know you're a loyal viewer by commenting Ripple stablecoin.
Considering everything we know about Ripple, their purpose, what's at stake, who's involved, and what they're trying to accomplish, and considering the world's a stage where social media creates the ability to socially engineer people with artificial narratives, could certain narratives we perceive as naturally occurring actually be part of an overall strategy? Could this idea be applied to the timely FUD that surrounds Ripple and XRP? There's just so many partners outside of Ripple that have interest in this company, the United Nations, WEF, and IMF, the parents of the SDGs, to name a few. It would actually make sense that a nuanced PR plan would include an evolving strategy for keeping sentiment balanced around this future tech. They would at least try. And since I've been seeing a ton of FUD narratives surrounding XRP lately, I thought this would be a good time to explain why the FUD, which stands for fear, uncertainty, and doubt, doesn't get to me anymore, and why to me, many of it feels artificial or designed to discourage retail investors, which is us, from buying this chosen token at low price levels in the short term by introducing ideas engineered to cause uncertainty.